Hello and welcome to the Game Lore Archives. Today we begin looking at the Fourth Era, which is basically modern day Tamriel. This is the shortest era we must cover as it's still ongoing. However, these few short years are perhaps some of the bloodiest in Tamriel's entire history.
At the end of the game, the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, the last remaining member of the Royal Septim bloodline died, sealing Oblivion away from Nirn for good. With the Septims gone, Titus Mede I is crowned Emperor. Meanwhile, Morrowind has rulership issues of its own. During the Oblivion Crisis, Vivec, the last remaining member of the Tribunal, vanishes. With his disappearance, the Tribunal's godlike powers begin to fade, including the power that held the giant meteor suspended in the sky, known as the Ministry of Truth. A dark elf named Vuon creates a machine called the Ingenium to prevent the meteor from falling onto Vivec City. However, the machine is destroyed 5 years later, causing the meteor to fall.
The Ministry of Truth crashes into Vivec City, destroying it and everyone in it instantly. The shockwave of this impact causes the largest volcano in Tamriel, Red Mountain, to erupt, marking the beginning of the Red Year, possibly the unluckiest stint of Dark Elf history ever. The eruption destroys multiple towns and its inhabitants and covers the entire province with ash. While they recover, the Argonians decide to go and get some revenge for the decades of slavery until stopping mid-invasion and returning home for no real reason. The High King of Skyrim gives them the island of Solstheim as a haven to retreat to and recover.
On the other side of Tamriel, in Somerset Isle, a government group called the Thalmor come to power and rename the province Alinor. This sparks Thalmor sympathisers to overthrow Valenwood's government and for Valenwood to become part of the Thalmor's territory. In the Fourth Era, year 29, the two lands officially form the Third Altmere Dominion. They isolate themselves from the Empire, close every border, and go completely silent.
The land is relatively peaceful for the next 11 years until the floating island Umbriel is summoned to Nirn by a rogue history. The island begins raising the dead underneath it. It's first spotted in the ocean and makes its way to Blackmarsh. The rogue tree brainwashes many of the Argonians who stand ready for slaughter to bulk up the island's army of the dead. The island then moves to Morrowind before going to its final destination, the white gold tower of the Imperial City. It's stopped with the combined effort of the Emperor Titus Mede's son, Prince Atrebus,
a dark elf named Sol,
an Argonian named Mirglim,
a young Bretonnian girl named Aneg,
and an Imperial named Colin.
Colin.
We've been joking since we heard the name Colin, because it's just so normal compared to
Atrebus,
the rest.
Sol, Mirglim,
Colin.
Aneg, Colin. Again, everything remains fairly quiet until Fourth Era 98, when the two moons vanish from the sky in an event called the Void Nights begin. Obviously, the moon just disappearing is kind of freaky enough, but it affected the Khajiit race substantially more. Due to their biology revolving around the moon's positions in the sky, they are integral to their entire way of life and are completely worshipped. When they vanished, the entire race panics until they reappear mysteriously as they vanished 2 years later. 15 years after their reappearance, the Thalmor end their isolation and claim credit for the moon's reappearance.
And just to clarify this, we aren't saying that they did or didn't do it, as nobody knows. They could have done it, they could have claimed credit for it and lied, or they could have been the ones to make them vanish in the first place. We may never know. I just think it's a little weird it takes them 15 years to come forward. Just seems a bit dodgy.
Whatever the truth is, the Khajiit clearly couldn't make their mind up either, and the province of Elsweyr is split into two. Half the province pledge themselves to the Thalmor, praising them as saviours, and the other half distrusts the Thalmor word and remains loyal to the Empire.
In the 171st year of the Fourth Era, the Altmere Dominion's plans come to fruition. They order Empress Titus Mede II to step down from power. When he refuses, the Great War begins. The Altmere Dominion attack without mercy and are much better prepared.
This is most likely as the war was pre-planned in the 16 years of solitude.
As soon as the Empire refuses to back down, Hammerfell is attacked. Luckily, Hammerfell is a strong nation, and the province continued to fend the Thalmor off for the duration of the war. The following year, the Aldmeri advanced to the Imperial City, and in 2 short years the city falls. It's not the only city to be overrun this year. At the same time, the Reachmen of Skyrim managed to overrun the city of Markarth and an area known as the Reach. The Reachmen declare that they are an independent kingdom.
It takes the Imperial Empire 2 years to take back the Imperial City. However, they suffer horrendous losses while doing so. Realising that fighting the Thalmor can only mean more bloodshed, they negotiate a peace treaty known as the White Gold Concordat. With this treaty, they lose a significant amount of territory, and the worship of Talos is outlawed. While I completely understand why they signed the treaty, it has a really negative effect on the Empire's relationship with Redguard, with Skyrim, and with Hammerfell, to the point where they are forced to renounce Hammerfell as an imperial province.
In the 176th year of the Fourth Era, Ulfric Stormcloak, the Jarl of Windhelm, retakes the city of Markarth and the Reach, casting the Reachmen out and naming them the Fourthsworn.
As a quick side note before going on to Ulfric's story, in 4th Era year 180, the Aldmeri Dominion sign a treaty and withdraw from Hammerfell, where the Redguard are still defending their province 5 years later.
Which is impressive if the Imperial City fell. The next few years are tense, with many provinces recovering from the war. This tension eventually comes to a head in the 201st year of the Fourth Era, when the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim takes place, where Ulfric Stormcloak starts the Stormcloak Rebellion against the Empire, as they believe that the worship of Talos, the main Nord deity, should be free to worship. While this rebellion is fought all over Skyrim, the dragons of old begin to appear across the country. The Dragonborn of legend is discovered, who stops the dragon incursion and helps the Stormcloaks or Imperial army to victory, although the canon winner isn't known yet. And we're really interested to see who is actually going to be the canon winner. Jeremy were discussing at work the other day that what I think is by the time the next game comes around, the Thalmor will have taken over, and then the winners are going to be irrelevant almost.
Yeah.
It will probably be they're both fighting, but then before a true winner was done, they swept in and took over.
In other words, just to keep both endings canon,
Completely
because Bethesda have a habit of doing this.
Which is really good, but it does make lore a bit hard work.
And that's everything that's happened in the Fourth Era so far. We will, of course, go into more details with the major events by giving them their own episodes. So we hope to see you watching it next week.
Yeah, see you then.